Hey, fellow traveler. Welcome to the Third Eye Awakening podcast, a show where we talk all about spiritual and psychic awakening, magic, the shift from 3D to 5D, star seeds, ascension, multiple timelines, multiple dimensions, the universe, the multiverse, the Akashic records, all the good things. I am your host, Amy Belair, and I'm so glad to have you here with me today. Okay, let's do this. Welcome, beautiful souls, to a special episode of Third Eye Awakening, the first of many, is my intention. I am feeling really called to do some short, regular transmissions about the energies that we're experiencing, as well as sharing a light language transmission for activation, and I hope you enjoy. So, y'all know I love using my tarot cards for sort of understanding and interpreting the energies that we are experiencing. It's something I used to do a lot in soul space, and then I just kind of fell out of the habit of it. I think I was too busy to keep up, but I'm really feeling the spaciousness and the invitation in my energy field again to start doing them and to share with the collective. So I've pulled 3 cards for us for this week, the week of May 27th to June 2nd, 2022. And the energies that are coming through are all mastery level energies, which is really exciting. The first card that I pulled is the King of Wands. So when I tune into our collective Akashic field to understand, like, what is this card talking about? It is the continued activation of light leaders out of sort of dormancy and slumber and hiding, bringing us out into the forefront to share our messages and to be visible, to share our frequency, to share our energy. We're going to be seeing this a lot on social media. It's going to feel like almost like a really crowded space in a sense of healers, light leaders, readers, oracles, channels, high vibrational content, and it already kind of does feel like a crowded space. So it's going to feel even more crowded. However, this is perfect. This is not a scarcity thing. If you're listening and you're like, you have a spiritual business and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to make myself heard with like that many more people in the space? The vision that I am being shown takes me all the way back to one of my earlier episodes on Third Eye Awakening called Awakening Like Wildflowers. I'm seeing that we're at this critical mass point where all of a sudden it's like pop, 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 pop. So many star seeds, angelics, light leaders, wayshowers, etc., like previous sleeper agents are being activated into their mission, into their self-awareness and their visibility. And it's like an explosion of wildflowers. It's like if it was a meadow of wildflowers, there were some flowers that were in bloom, but this is like peak season. It's just flowers everywhere, and every flower is like at its peak, vivid, beautiful brilliance, just like radiating their unique codes. And so we can possibly be activated into an old story of scarcity, but what I'm seeing is that actually this is perfect and this works for all of us, all of the ascending consciousness, all of us who are content creators and leaders. It is going to help us stand out because the same way that a meadow of wildflowers attracts, exponentially more bees and hummingbirds and butterflies and pollinators, we are attracting the souls that we are contracted, so to speak, here to activate and affect and assist in their healing, hold space for them, assist in the awakening. So I'm just seeing that this is going to be a week where so many people are feeling like almost like a shedding of fear. Like the fears that kept us at bay for a long time have dissolved and we are really ready to be seen. Now, does this mean that, I'm everybody that I'm talking to has to have a business? No. This might just be like a willingness to share more openly in our Instagram stories or on our grid, or a willingness to share more openly on Facebook, or even just a willingness to share more openly in conversations with our families, our friends, those that we don't really consider awakened. It's like those previous tethers of fear have just dissolved and they're gone. And we might still hold little residual imprints of fear in our nervous system, but it's not enough to hold us back anymore. We are here. We are coded to be seen. We are coded to be visible and to activate others into their next level of awakening as well. And I am just seeing that this week, like, I know a little bit about astrology, but mostly I get it through my beautiful sister, Christina Luna. But as I understand, there are a lot of planets in Aries right now. Jupiter is in Aries, Venus is in Aries, Mars just went into Aries. And so that is a lot of like fire initiation energy. And the King of Wands to me is a leader who is entertaining, dynamic, outward facing, super engaging, very charismatic, very captivating to watch. And so, and furthermore, the wands is the suit of fire. It's like that passionate, creative, initiatory energy. So the kings are court cards. All of the, kings, queens, knights, and pages are all court cards. And to me, the court cards represent a mastery over the energies of the particular suit. So the King of Wands is like the peak embodied human mastery of the masculine passion energy, the masculine creative energy. He is, as I said, this dynamic, charismatic, magnetizing leader who is comfortable having all eyes on him, who is comfortable being visible. He is the performer. He knows that he has medicine to share, and he often shares them through story, through song, through art, through oration, like speaking, but it can certainly be through music. It can be through memes. It can be through, just like sharing high frequency, high vibrational, high consciousness social media content, or sharing conversations that are coming from a place of candidness and confidence. So right off the bat, what a beautiful energy to be moving into this week. Embrace it, go with it. If you are feeling like, I just want to start talking, like, I just want to share with people and I don't want to be held back by my fears anymore, know that the energies are in alignment and in support of that. Furthermore, I really believe that, like I said on a recent episode, I believe that we are in the midst, like May was like a quantum leap in human consciousness. And we're experiencing some kind of like magical 100th monkey effect where enough of us are awakened to a certain frequency of consciousness that it's just automatically pulling everyone up. The way that a rising tide raises all ships. It's happening collectively. And those of us who are at the leading edge of this, we have access to frequencies of consciousness that were previously unavailable to us. Telepathy, bilocation, astral projection, channeling, you know, like powerful empathic abilities. All of those things are super accessible to us right now. And we are meant to share it outwardly. This is like a solar plexus activation. Let those beautiful sun codes, all those like daily friggin' back to back solar flares and coronal mass ejections, etc. Let those activate your solar plexus and bring the sun energy that lives in your solar plexus, bring it into its own outward facing magnificence. We have codes to share with each other, y'all. We have gifts, we have medicine, we are activators for each other. Share it, radiate it. Don't like, what's that? What's that old song? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. And then there's that part where it's like, hide it under a bushel. No. Okay, whatever. Sunday school. I went. But the point is like, don't hide your light anymore. There's nothing to hide it from anymore. We're safe. We're more than safe. This is the dawning of the golden age, and this is what we all came for. The next card that I pulled is the Knight of Cups. So again, this is an energy mastery. The cups is the suit of water. It's the suit of emotions, psychic abilities, empathic connections. It's like a fluidity and a grace. And the Knight is like mastery in process. It has achieved a certain degree of mastery, but it is not in the height of its mastery yet. However, we are moving into that place, in towards the height of our mastery. And the place that we're at, the message that's coming through to guide us through the next week is to release all of our like funky, codependent, people pleasing, empathic qualities. Pretty much everybody who's in my orbit is highly, highly empathic. I just don't think that I don't think anybody would listen to my podcast who doesn't have empathic abilities. You can contest me if you want, but I believe that you are highly empathic. And the Knight of Cups, the way that it is achieving mastery is that it is understanding empathicness not as a weakness, but as an incredible power and a strength. And it is also leaving behind the perception of suffering, like mainly emotional suffering, as being something that we need to rescue others from. It's an up leveling of the martyr archetype and bringing it into, well, the Christ frequency. Guys, I'm sorry, moving forward, that's pretty much all I'm going to be talking about. It's just the lens that I've been given to interpret energies through. But the martyr energy is like this belief that we need to save others from their pain. It's almost like unbearable to be witness to the suffering of others, especially when we're highly empathic. It's so painful. It's so painful to be able to tap in and feel the suffering of others, the emotional suffering, the emotional pain. And so naturally, when we're not in our power around that, we desire to do something to fix it, to alleviate it. We just want to control it. Basically, we want to stem the flow of the awareness of all that suffering and all that pain because it's so uncomfortable for us. And because we love each other, right? We like, for the most part, especially these days, we love our fellow beings. But the truth is that we grow so much through that experience of suffering. And the truth that I see and I understand through my experience in the Akashic field is that none of that suffering diminishes us. We may believe we are diminished, but even that perspective is only temporary. In fact, we are enhanced by it. And the experience that we would call suffering is like rich fertilizer for powerful transformation and growth. And that if we did not have periods that felt intense and that we might describe as suffering in our lives, we would lose opportunities for growth. Like the growth exists in that discomfort. And as I relay this message, I just want you to know that I am going through a huge growth edge of my own, which is highly uncomfortable, super triggering. And if I wasn't in a place of mastery over it myself, I would experience it as suffering. But because I understand the rich fertility of that experience, of that texture of perception, I know that I'm actually safe and that I'm actually okay, and that I get to use this to fuel my up level. It is to fuel my up level, but I get to consciously harmonize with it in that way and thereby not unnecessarily prolong my suffering. So the Knight of Cups is inviting us to view our empathic abilities as a superpower, that we can connect in with each other, and that without somebody else even having to tell us there's something wrong, we know we can feel and understand some of their story, not from a presumptuous angle, but from a, I feel the texture of your emotional field. I feel the turbulence there. I feel the density in certain areas. I know that you're having a hard time, and you don't even have to tell me. And I can just quietly hold space for you and love you. And I can hold the highest vision of you, even while you're going through this. What a powerful gift that we now get to consciously bring into our toolkit. But we're also no longer needing to feel like we're saving people. We can be in that Christ consciousness frequency of seeing others in their highest vision, seeing the illusion of the circumstances that have created the foundation for the perceived experience of suffering. And we can, on one hand, hold the truth that they are experiencing suffering and therefore it is real. Like when I say illusion, I don't mean to dismiss the experience of suffering that anyone has. I just mean that all of the constructs that we carry about ourselves, about our identity, about our relationships, about our job and our various roles, all of those are illusions. When we die, we don't take those with us. We kind of wake up from the dream and we're like, oh yeah, that was never actually real. It was a perception. So we get to, on one hand, honor that what another is experiencing is real to them because they are experiencing it. But on the other hand, be able to see through the illusion and hold the truth steady for them, which is that they are immensely powerful, like graduate level souls. I still believe that Earth is not a kindergarten playground. This is not where we come when we are newbies to incarnation. I don't actually know where we go when we're newbies to incarnation, but it's not Earth. It's not Earth. Earth is like Earth is like a boss level, a boss level in the game. So we can hold that knowing for each other. And as we do that, as we no longer feel the need to swoop in and rescue somebody else and be motivated by, social justice propaganda, etc., as we can just hold the space for everyone to be immensely powerful, we are essentially like holding that possibility for them. It's like they can't quite access it in that moment, but it's way easier for them to access it when they're ready because we're holding that frequency for them. And, you know, I also think that there's an aspect of this card and the message that's coming through that is about social justice concepts. And like right now I think it's in Canada, we're going into an election period. I think it's federal, but I don't know, whatever. It's a total farce. But the point is that I'm seeing all of these election signs up on people's lawns. And it's funny because as I look at, for example, the NDP party, which is the New Democratic Party in Canada, I know that the people who hold those values, they deeply love and respect others, and they don't want there to be inequity in society. They don't want there to be an imbalance of power where the few hold so much power over others. And at one time, I totally identified with that perspective. But now, what I see is that all of that was an illusion anyway, and that no one group can truly hold power over another group without the victim group believing in their victimization. If they don't subscribe to that belief of their disempowerment, they are not disempowered. So they actually have nothing to do with each other apart from being, two polarities on the axis of empowerment and disempowerment, or I don't know, perpetrator, victim, that kind of thing. But both parties have to participate for the experience to be felt as real. So I feel like this card is really just calling us to even more lucidly see through the illusion of the concept of the victim story and hold everyone in their power. It's calling bullshit on the matrix. And the final card that I pulled for the energy of this week is the King of Swords. So the swords is a suit of air, of cognition, of like cerebral understanding, of logic, of truth, of justice. It's a very mental plane. And the King of Swords is the pinnacle of divine masculine mastery of that realm of cognition, logic, etc. And to me, the King of Swords, the medicine that he carries is the balance between the heart and the mind, the balance. He's no longer operating from a place of hubris around, the data and the science and all that, and believing that logic is superior to intuition. He's not in that place anymore because he's reconciled himself with the fact that there are variables that we simply can't control for, and that there is an element of mystery, like the complete unknown. There is a void space in the quantum field, the void where everything comes from the void and everything returns to the void. And we can't ever know the void. We can never know it. The void is also the divine feminine. So the the King of Swords is like the new template for masculine energy in the world that no longer feels any need to control the divine feminine. He is no longer afraid of his vulnerability and trying to cover it up with pompous arrogance and hubris. He concedes that he is mortal, he will die, his loved ones will die, that it is part of the cycle. He is now in a place where he can make truly balanced decisions. He can see with precision and clarity because he can acknowledge the void and acknowledge that it will never be known. And that, as I said, there are variables that will never be known and can never be controlled for. And that again, that does not diminish us. That is the place where creativity exists. It's a beautiful thing. And he knows that. So the overall message I'm giving for the energy of this week, May 27th to June 2nd, 2022, is that we are all stepping into a level of heightened mastery. We should be very proud of ourselves and lean into it totally. The time for modesty is not here. This is the time to celebrate ourselves and really congratulate ourselves for how much work we've done through this 3D and 4D realm over our entire lifetimes, but very specifically over the last 2 years. We have done a lot of work and we've clarified a lot of things and we've gotten control of our perspective. When we do that, It doesn't matter if we're in the 3D or the 4D or the 5D or wherever. When we have control over our perspective, we can be in the world, but not of the world. Meaning we can be in the illusion, but not controlled by the illusion. You know, when I say the world, I'm not talking about this beautiful, lush, vibrant green planet that we live on. I mean, the Maya, the illusion that was created, the game that we are playing. We can be in the game, but not controlled by the game. And from that space, we control the game from the inside out. And that's what we're all fucking here for, friends. That is what we are doing. That's why we answered the call. You know, if you're a follower of Dolores Cannon and you resonate with being one of the waves of volunteers, we answered the call for that. If you resonate as being a starseed, you answered the call to bring part of your higher dimensional consciousness into a human incarnation in the 3D and 4D. If you resonate with being an angelic, having an angelic frequency, you answered the call to bring an extremely high and clear and pristine frequency of consciousness here. And the reason is because when we're in the game, but we can observe it without being emotionally pulled around by it, then we become masters of the energy of reality. We can be in the illusion, but not buy into the illusion. And we can create within the illusion, all while knowing it's an illusion, but being able to enjoy what we are creating because we are creating from mastery, not from unconsciousness. So this is going to be a good week. That is what I'm getting from this message. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope it serves you. And now I'm going to offer a little light language transmission for your further activation. I believe that this is going to activate our psychic gifts into a heightened level of clarity and precision. I recently shared on my Instagram and in Soul Space that I woke up earlier this week. I woke up in the middle of the night, in the middle of an astral projection. I was bilocated between several different environments, one of them being a ship. I remember being on a spaceship and speaking with a female alien. I can remember exactly what she looked like. She was holding my face and she was telepathically communicating instructions to me that I am supposed to speak light language. I'm supposed to make really intense eye contact and speak light language and create visual light codes and speak through my hands, certain hand movements that will activate others into remembering who they are. That the need for the amnesia cloak in this realm is gone. We don't need the amnesia anymore. Now, what we need is to remember ourselves. And so I spoke light language for the first time on my social media. You can go check it out if you're on social media platforms. If not, that's why I'm sharing it here. And so for these weekly transmissions, I'm just going to share the language itself. And for monthly energy transmissions, bigger ones, I'm going to film it on video so that I can do that, you know, the hand movements and the intense eye contact part. Okay, so here we go. Asino tawa ilatrio na tete irio iriso tfunahan iriota teta ti anta inata te te yeah. Okay, beautiful souls. That is my energy transmission for you all for the week of May 27th to June 2nd, 2022. I also want to share with you very briefly that I am holding a 3-part masterclass series starting on Monday, May 30th. So the first one's going to be Monday, May 30th. The second one is going to be Wednesday, June 1st. And the third one is going to be Friday, June 3rd. And this masterclass series is called the Holographic Field of Light. And it's going to be all about everything that I've learned, all the downloads that I've received about the Akashic field and the holographic field of light, the Christ consciousness frequency, the fabric of reality, timeline encoding, quantum timeline healing, and what is possible in this holographic Akashic field. I'm really excited to share this with all of you. I personally have gone through found quantum leap in my own consciousness over the last 2 months. It has been super intense. Like, I guess it probably started at the end of March, but holy moly, through April and May, I have been getting so much information about, how do I even put it? It's like what this reality actually is and how we get to, I want to say manipulate, but not manipulate in a bad way, but like we get to play with it. I know how to move it. I know how to wield the energy to create whole new timelines, literally new timelines, and to close loops on previous timelines, releasing energy to put towards our new creations. It's like the Akashic field and what I knew how to do previously, like 5.0. It's so, I mean, it's not even quantifiable. It's just so powerful. So the first one on Monday is going to be about the Christ consciousness frequency and what that really means. I really desire to go into a deep dive about it. I know I answered Kash's question about it on the recent Q&A episode, but I really want to go deep because it's so richly layered and textured, and it has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with our lucid mastery in this realm. And furthermore, I've received even more clarity since I recorded that Q&A session, and I really want to share it with you all. The second one on Wednesday is about the actual texture and fabric of reality of the organic matrix that we are in, the energy that we play with to create and how we do that. And then the third one on Friday, June 3rd, is about the Akashic holographic field and what is possible when we learn how to work within that field, the massive shifts that we can create in our lives for ourselves and for others. So this workshop series is $33. I've priced it to be totally accessible. Yeah, I'm so excited. It's like one of those things where I'm like, you know me, I talked for a long time. This transmission has already been way longer than I intended it to be. I am going to dive deep. So the $33 is not a reflection of the value of the information that's coming through. It's just that I desire to create things that are accessible to all of my listeners in all walks of life. And then, of course, the replays will be available. Don't sweat it if you sign up and you can't make it live. No problem at all. The replays will be made available to you. And then the other thing that I want to share too is that I have several new programs that I've created that are nothing like anything I've ever done before. Super high level intentional programs. And I want to share them with you. So I'm going to be talking about them during the master classes. And if you sign up to, attend it the week that it's being held, like you sign up, you don't have to be there live. You can watch the replays, but if you sign up now, basically, rather than buy it later after the fact, you will also get a really sweet credit, a really generous credit towards any of the programs that I'm talking about or any of my programs that you can keep in your account and you can redeem. So definitely come on and join me in this. It's going to be really, really good. As always, I mean, my full dharma in this life my whole motivation truly is to reach higher and higher levels of consciousness and translate it down to make it accessible. I don't hold back. It is a fulfillment of my mission to be able to communicate these things with all of you. And so I'm in deep gratitude to all of you for being here on the podcast. But I'm in such profound gratitude to all of you who enter any of my offerings at any price points, because it's like without you, I would just be talking into the void, you know? Thank you for being there and receiving my transmissions, thus completing the loop and allowing for the advancement of our collective consciousness and the fulfillment of my personal dharma. I love you so much. I hope you all have an absolutely stellar week, and I will catch you next week for the next energy transmission.
Thank you so much for being here with me on this episode. I appreciate you more than my words could ever say. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you on the next episode.